looks like we're actually on. So, see if it looks all right. All right. I should point the camera a little more at me. Well, like that. That ain't too bad. Okay. Looks like you can read it, but it's not great. Do we get audio? Hello? Okay. Looks like you can read it, but it's not. Okay. Alright. Me. Well, do I still need this tab? Guess I do. No. Alright. Let's make sure that chat is coming through OBS. Oh, look at that. Let's see. Can I respond as relay? Or restream? Well. Okay. Okay. I understand now. Man, I wish that video would come through just a little bit clearer, though. Let's do 720. Okay, that's coming through pretty clear. We'll go ahead and close that. All right. Hey, everybody. Believe the audio's coming through. Video seems to be coming through. I'm going to be working on my local Kubernetes cluster a little bit today, playing with webhooks and cron jobs to see, really just to show you what can be built with some pretty basic tools. So first thing I'm going to do, I do think I'm going to need one Chrome window. We'll get that on this screen. Pull this up. Get this pulled up. Search for webhooks. And there we go. First one, I guess I should put an image in here, but I don't have one at the moment. So this is a Helm chart that runs this project here. This is it's called webhook. If you're not familiar with it, it is it's a super simple way to execute a script in response to an HTTP request. So let's see if they've just got a quick example. Otherwise, we'll use my example. Hooks.yaml.example. So you're able to, this is not a good example either. I've got a good example. That's what we'll use. All right. So basically what we want to have happen is when we receive an HTTP request, for example, this one, because of this hook ID status, is going to be available on HTTP endpoint. We don't know what that's going to be. Hooks/status. And then it is going to execute this script for us. Super simple stuff. This script is defined. Probably, I think this one's actually in the Docker image. And this is, so this is the values file for the Helm chart. I'm going to do a quick install. We're just going to get it up and running. Sorry, I'm so scatterbrained here. Helm install. You know what? YouTube live webhooks from OD webhooks/webhooks. Is that right? It is. Look at that. And do a kubectl get pod. Okay. Actually going to that's a little better. Reset the terminal just so it doesn't look funny. All right, so we now have this service running, this pod running. This is the webhooks thing, and we can curl HTTP I think it's actually /webhooks/status. Well, that's odd. Why isn't that running? Oh, 192.168.1.250/hooks/status. Yeah, I get that. Why am I getting that though? localhost port 80/hooks, not whose, hooks/status. Yeah, I didn't figure that was going to work. You lied to me, VS Code. Okay, but that's actually just not getting through at all. Let's look at this ingress. kubectl get ingress. Oh, YAML. I don't understand why this isn't working. How did it work before? Update. Nope. Upgrade. Come on, Mitchell. All right. ID status. That's hooks. Yeah, that's what I thought. Hooks/status. You should be up. I think there's something off with my kubectl describe service. YouTube live webhooks. Oh, because that's not actually a command. Okay, so it clearly has ports, or an endpoint. So I'm actually not that familiar with this traffic ingress, though I don't know what could possibly be causing it an issue. Kubectl get ingress classes. We don't even have an ingress class. Okay, that's good. Well, sorry, you guys are going to have to just watch me figure this out. I don't understand why it's having such a problem here. Kubectl logs tag in kube system. Look at traffic. You know what? Kubectl delete pod in the cube system namespace, and we want to just get rid of this traffic one and see if maybe it comes back up a little bit nicer. Kubectl logs tag in cube system. All right. Yeah, it doesn't exist. Stop worrying about that web app service traffic. Okay. Why is it being this way? This is, let's do web hooks. And we'll run that again. Nope. Oh. Okay. Kubectl, delete, ingress, web app ingress. That's fine. So Helm is not creating. Uninstall. Whatever, that got it. And this should create my ingress. No. Why are you not creating an ingress? Oh. Because I wasn't using my Helm values chart. Or my Helm values for this chart. I was using the defaults, which does not include an ingress. I was doing this to myself. This is all my fault. Webhooks. Now watch my ingress path be off. Let's just get rid of that, because I don't think that actually works in traffic, or it doesn't work the way I expect it to. Get an ingress, kubectl, describe ingress. If I could type, okay, and it is just forwarding it. Default backend. Don't guess I actually care about a default backend. So this should work, but it's not gonna, I'll bet. Hey, look at that, it did work. Okay. So this is online. Well, what was my problem there? We may never know. Alright, so we have the webhooks thing up and running. So now that that's actually installed, I've got another file here. This is a cron job, and the reason I'm using a cron job is because it allows me to store this job template in the Kubernetes API, and once that's there, I can use that to create new copies of this job over and over and over again without needing to do more kubectl applies or create a new job spec. The cron job just serves as that template. It is suspended here on line 8. That is just to make sure Kubernetes doesn't run it. And then I usually put in a date that doesn't exist on the schedule line, which is required. The reason I put a date in there that doesn't exist is just, again, a hope that this never accidentally executes. Because I don't want it to. This is only meant to run specific things on demand rather than on a schedule. So real quick, go over this. This uses the init container pattern. So if you don't know about an init container, that's where Kubernetes starts your pod up and then runs it. Runs the init containers that you can see on your screen here beginning on line 18. It's going to run that, and it's going to run each of these in order. So it's going to run init step 1, and we're just going to create some data, maybe sleep a few seconds. Then it runs init step 2. Same thing here. This is all demo stuff. In the real world, I actually am usually pulling data. For instance, in step 1, I'll pull data from S3. Step 2 is usually decompression, maybe a little bit of data modification. Step 3, 4, 5, however many I need to get to, are going to do the actual data imports for me. And then finish it up with just one app container that the Kubernetes API does require. And just run success. So what I have set up here, though, is the ability to create a copy of this demo job. So I'm going to go ahead and do a kubectl apply tag F, and we called it webhook demo cj.yaml. So now that that's been created, I can go back over here and look at my webhooks YAML file. I guess I could have showed you where to get this. We'll go back over the Helm chart here in just a few minutes. But we do have this auth status, or we can pass in authentication details via headers. And let's see if I can actually do that without having to go Google all the... Alright. Let's check auth status first. Auth tag H x dash webhook token, and this you can see defined over on the left hand side of your screen on line 125. And do, I think it was 42, and I hope that's the right syntax. Online and authenticated. Excellent. So this allows me to protect these endpoints in case I have to expose them publicly. Now in production environments, I typically will have several layers of things that are going to protect these endpoints. I don't want anything to ever overwhelm what I have running, because I failed to protect it. So with the Nginx ingress controller, you can do IP allow listing and deny listing. Here, I don't have any of that stuff set up, but now that we're authenticated, we're going to do the webhook demo. So this webhooks application uses the ID of, so for instance, this line 134 here on the screen, that's the URL that you see put in there. Now what just happened, by calling that one URL, it was able to trigger the creation of a job based off of this cron job. And that's what you see here, this last entry here that has the init containers. You see it's running through each of these steps. It's on the left hand side of your screen. It would have just finished up this section, and it's working on that kubectl logs webhook demo init step 1. Let's take a look at that. Look at that. There's step 2 that ran, step 3, and we can look at the finisher. And so this ran automatically, all triggered off of that one HTTP request. That's a pretty useful thing. It allows me to build more complex workflows. So, um, I can have that HTTP request come in and, uh, trigger this job. And at the end of this job, I could have it actually trigger a second job, right? Call a different endpoint, call another webhook, and you can chain these different events out and build things out without needing to have more advanced tools available to you, such as a fully set up CI or CD system. Looking at things like Flux or even a GitLab server, right? That you can do a lot with GitLab. GitLab is actually going to bring you the webhooks functionality by default, but it's a lot to manage. It's one more thing that needs to be updated. The beauty of, this somewhat old school approach to working with Kubernetes is Bash scripts work pretty much everywhere. And where you can't do something in Bash, this example is pretty simple. I'm not really doing anything, but this could be executing Python scripts. This could be executing compiled binaries if you build your tools in Go or something like that. It's a really, I like it. It's a really powerful way to build things, and I can quickly demo these things out. I can test things, try things out. Um, just by having Kubernetes execute these pods for me, or execute these containers and keep all the rules in check, right? So each one of these init containers has to execute. One has to happen before two, has to happen before three. If any of them fail, then um, you kind of failed the whole process. So, for example, I've got my restart policy here on line 17. If init step 1 were to fail or init step 2, it's going to actually restart the whole pod and start again over at the top. I could have that set to never. I almost don't ever set that to always. For cron jobs, I want them, jobs, cron jobs, things like that that need to run to completion. I don't set that to always, because it will just always restart it and your thing never actually completes. So I didn't see anybody join this one. I'm going to assume that the audio and the video all came through beautifully. I'm gonna log off, go eat some lunch, and we'll probably come back down and play with this just a little bit later. I appreciate anybody who's been here watching. Um, if you have any comments or feedback, please let me know, please. Criticism is nice. You don't have to be mean, but I'd take some criticism. Um, Again, all of this stuff is available. Everything you see me working on here today is available. The Helm chart. Let's go over that real quick. The Helm chart is pretty new. I've not added a logo. I've not added really anything other than the default that comes with the Helm chart. But this gets this webhook service up and running for you. Thanks to the cat lady for creating the Docker image that I'm using here. The original one that I found, I don't even think that Adnan here, I don't know if does he have a Docker file? He does not. Let's see, Docker. Yep. So he actually recommended this cat lady webhook. I looked at the ones that were available. Hers stuck out to me as one of the better options. This is going to set up the rbac. Let's look at that actually in my file over here. Um, for my purposes, right, I need to be able to affect the Kubernetes cluster from these webhooks. So I want to start a job. I may want to, I could, for instance, scale pods up, scale things down. I could trigger off all sorts of Kubernetes behaviors. Um, and this Helm chart lets me set up those Kubernetes permissions that you need. For instance, you need to be able to list cron jobs in the batch API group. And you also need to be able to create jobs um, in the batch API group. And so this Helm chart lets me set all of that up in a predictable way. It can take care of the ingress if you have an ingress controller. In my local lab here, I have the traffic ingress controller, but I don't have any of my TLS certificates set up. So I'm not really doing any of that here. Startup commands, this is pretty useful in this Helm chart. So when the cat lady's Docker image starts up, right, she doesn't include kubectl, right? That's not a part of the base Docker image, and it shouldn't be, but I need it. So this Helm chart provides startup commands, and those startup commands wind up being run. They run here. Before the webhook process starts up, and that allows me to install things for my case. I need kubectl. In the future, I may need Python. I may need any number of things. This is an Alpine Linux based image, so normal APK add magic works. Yeah, it's pretty simple. This I think is a good building block for more advanced things. I hope to keep building on that in future videos. I actually am going to go now and eat some lunch and check that this stream worked, that there's audio, that the video looks good. Again, thank you anybody who's watching this in the future.